If you've been considering getting an iPhone 15 Pro for shooting a video podcast or any video content in general, I'm going to share a few things in this video that will help you avoid some headaches and just make a more informed decision before you actually pull the trigger. The first thing you're going to want to plan for is the actual storage that you have available on your iPhone. Now, mine is the lowest one, which is 128 gigabytes, and typically that fills up very, very quickly if I'm just shooting straight to my phone. So one of the cool things that's now available with the new USB-C port inside of this is that you can use external hard drives, and in my case, an SSD drive. So this SSD drive, the Samsung, I've done a review about it before, but I really highly recommend it, not just for storage, but also for shooting your content directly onto. That way you can ensure that, okay, it's not gonna just stop on you 15 minutes through the podcast, or it's not gonna be a hassle to actually get this ginormous 4K file onto your computer for editing or for handing it off to your editor. The other thing you're probably wondering is how this can allow you to shoot in the higher quality that Apple claims that you get access to if you are shooting with an external drive. The reason everybody went crazy over this is because it shoots log footage, right? So you can shoot raw footage that filmmakers would appreciate, and you can actually tweak it to very high levels in post-production. You typically would not be able to do that if you are not using an external drive. The reason being is because 1 minute of that kind of footage is 1 gigabyte. Okay, that's a lot of memory. So you need something like this, which is a 2 terabyte external drive. I'm going to plug this into my iPhone. So let's say that you've plugged in the external drive into your phone already, but you're not seeing it come up in your camera because it should say USB-C. And so what you're gonna do is hit settings and then tap on camera. And you're gonna see a series of settings that I kind of have, for myself already here. But mainly what you're gonna be looking for is formats. So you're gonna tap on formats, and then you're going to scroll down to basically this area, okay? So I toggle these two things on. So when you toggle on the Pro RAW and resolution control, you go over to the camera and you toggle on the ProRes button over here. If you don't do that, it's still not going to shoot directly onto the drive. So I'm gonna tap that. And as soon as I tap that, you're basically gonna see how it says, max time, and it tells me the amount of time that's actually available on my SSD drive. And you'll also notice how it actually says USB-C at the bottom now, right? Versus if I have that toggled off, you're not going to see USB-C anywhere. And if you don't actually change the thing in the settings like I showed, then you're not gonna get that option to toggle it up top. So make sure you do that first. The next thing to note is that when you're in cinematic mode, which is the mode that gives you kind of that blurry bokeh effect that's similar to maybe a digital camera with a really, really nice lens, that footage is not shooting directly onto an external drive. It's going to go directly onto your phone. And you'll also notice that the second that I disconnect this, right, and I go back to video to try to toggle on the ProRes HDR, it's not going to allow me to do that. It's gonna give me this message, right? It's not supported. Please plug in an external drive to be able to shoot like this. Now, the other thing I'm sure you're worried about is what is it actually like to connect the external drive, so the T7 here, and let it hang. Because for example, I was shooting a video that was standing up and I had this connected and it was just kind of dangling like that, right? And so you're probably wondering, is that okay? Will it disconnect? Because a lot of hard drives would actually disconnect and be like, oh, disk not ejected properly. But for whatever reason, the wire that they give, the USB-C to USB-C, with the Samsung T7 is pretty strong. It's sturdy. It does not actually, it actually was moving around a little bit and it still did not disconnect the whole time. I actually picked up the whole tripod and moved it to 1 or 2 areas just to test what that would do, and it did not have any interruption whatsoever. Now, of course, some people have come up with cool workarounds where you can put the MagSafe thing on the back of this actually, right? And then you can basically connect it so it stays like that and it's not dangling around everywhere. But this is the thing that everybody's talking about that unlocks a whole new level of actually, filming on your phone without it being a huge hassle. One of the last things that you don't think about until you actually get it is that when you have this plugged in, you are not going to have space for another microphone or a charger to go in here. So for example, let's say that I'm shooting social media content and I'm doing vertical stuff and I want to plug in a microphone that goes directly into here. Okay, so this was a pretty nice option that I've been actually testing. I plug it in, and then I've got this wireless lav mic that I can use, and I get access to higher sound quality. Now, as you can see, this is actually stuffed up, and I can't rely on this actually working, but actually, I'm gonna try this in real time and see if this works. Headphones, let's go to video. Yeah, so connecting it through this external thing that's supposed to be a charging port is not, oh wait, no. Yeah, no, it's not giving me access. So as you can see, you need to plan for one thing to be really majorly connected to this. So if you're gonna be prioritizing, just sound and you want high quality sound, you're maybe shooting a 1 minute video, it's not gonna be like 20 minutes long, then, you could shoot directly onto your phone. You can plug in this little microphone and now you have a high quality audio source. But yes, you are now using storage on your phone. Let's say that you want access to the high quality video ProRes, but you also want to be able to shoot directly onto a drive, make it headache free, save your storage. Then you're gonna be sacrificing the audio that you can plug in, and you want to plan for another audio source to be able to do that, whether it's another microphone or me plugging this into my laptop or something like that, right? Now there is a workaround for if you need to charge it, right? You could actually use like one of these MagSafe chargers to actually do that, but it's just too much while you're actually filming to prepare for that. So one of the things you just want to make sure is that your phone is actually charged to 100%. And as the years go by, that's one of the challenges you're going to run into. As your battery actually degrades, which it's just natural for it to do so, it's going to be harder to shoot for longer and longer periods of time, even though you can shoot with this for like 350 minutes or whatever it is, right? But I would say it's still worth it, because what this allows you to do that most digital cameras don't, and now they are beginning to make some of them like this, but it's taken them way too long in the camera industry to do it, which is allowing you to record past the 27 or 30 minute mark. And this was typically done to prevent overheating and things like that. That's problematic if you're going to be shooting for a longer period of time, because you might be shooting thinking everything's on, but it's actually turned off. That happens all the time. So making sure that something can record past that 30-minute mark without any interruptions, as long as it has good battery life, that's pretty impressive. Now, to get a quick glance at what it looks like to shoot with this thing, what the video quality looks like, I actually filmed and published a full YouTube video that was recorded with the iPhone in ProRes using the T7, but no additional audio sources. So I wasn't using a nicer microphone or anything like that anywhere. It was just using the iPhone's built-in microphones, which they have improved. And I fixed it up, of course, in post-production and enhanced the sound quality where I could. So if you're curious, what does that sound like? What does it look like? Is it good enough for your quality standards for you to actually be shooting primarily on the iPhone? Check out that full video in the description below, and I will see you in the next one. If you decide to invest in a really nice digital camera for your video podcast, one of the first troubles you're probably going to run into is adjusting the settings. So I'm going to start by teaching you about shutter speed, which is a pretty important setting, mainly because it's different between when you are shooting photo with your camera